What was the best thing the quiet kid has said or done in class? Me, look. I bought the MP3. My friend, I got the MP4. Quiet kid, I got the MP5. I'm a quiet kid. One day I was at choir and the mean boy was giggling about stupid short I couldn't care less about. We were told to get in line for the choir practice, but I had stand next to the mean boy. He was whispering Christmas songs, like he was rapping. I turned to him and said, "Shut up, it sounds like you're rapping." He got louder and I started giggling a bit. The teacher saw me and him messing about and told us to sit out. I got asked, "Why were you giggling? What were you doing?" And I lied, saying he was messing around. Since everyone had a grudge on him, the teachers believed me and kicked him out of choir. Best effing victory ever. Gym class with someone who always talks shit about the teacher and says how much they hate the class. The quiet kid, after hearing enough from him for over 3 months, grabs him while looking him in the eyes with a dead look on his face and says, "If you hate the class so much, then leave." The man never came back to gym again. I used to be a pretty quiet girl in school. Plus I'm short and not intimidating looking at all. 10th grade, I think. In English we had a reading day where we could sit wherever and read. There were a lot of popular kids in my English class that year, so I really didn't talk too much. I was sitting with my 2 female friends on the floor, only friends in that class, and not that far anyway. Like 2 boys decided to play with the floor lamp our teacher had in the room. Even after she said not to play with it, they were picking it up and messing with it. I raised my voice very sternly and said something like, "Stop playing with the lamp. It's not yours. Don't touch it." The whole class, even the teacher, freaked out by my alpha mode. There was a group of kids just like who are, and the funny part was right after I said that came out meaner than I thought. Then quietly I explained to my friends that with watching my little siblings often for years, I developed a stern voice. I'd also like to mention the boys put the lamp back, and I don't remember them ever playing with it again. LOL. I'm the quiet kid, and when the teacher was calling me out, I legit said to her, "You're calling me out for bad grades, when I should be calling you out for bad teaching." Hi, quiet kid here. Not a really cool thing, but it was really funny to me. 6th grade, math class. I sat in front of this really crappy girl, always being really rude to me and my friends. I had a really bad sleep schedule, so I slept literally all through that class. One time I woke up to giggling and just sat up. All of the markers that she had lined up on my back falling to the floor. I like to think of myself as a nice kid, but when the entire class started laughing along with her when that happened, I simply spun around in my chair and asked, "What on earth is your problem? Let a girl sleep in peace." She just looked at me bewildered and said, "You can talk," in literally the most quiet voice. I was shocked she didn't think I could talk. I didn't realize I was that quiet, LOL. I was popular all through high school. When I first moved to New Jersey, I started a new school in 8th grade, and I was the quiet kid. One day in history class, our teacher asked the class if we had done the homework from the night before. I said under my breath as my head was down, no bit thinking anyone heard me. My teacher then calls me out to the whole class and asked me why I didn't do the homework assignment either. Lifted my head up and loudly said, "Because homework in against my religion." I had the class's respect after that. 8th grade. Kid behind me was continually flicking my hair. I, being the quiet kid, took it and tried to ignore it, but after weeks of doing it daily, it had started to really hurt. Finally snapped, stood up, turned around, picked up the desk he was sitting in, one of the ones where the chair is connected to the desk bit, and literally table flipped him upside down. Best suspension ever. Okay then. Jokes aside, I'm the quiet kid of my class. 2 years ago I was bullied a lot by my classmates because of my looks, grades, and I was rejected by a guy who I had a crush on. So it did add up. I was too sensitive about it. I cried. Everyone saw what was happening, but they turned blind to it. Then, last year there's this lockdown. This quarantine is a reason why I just turned into a quiet kid. I was already an introvert, and I was kind to people. no matter how they treated me. But this lockdown made me realize so many things. Later on, my school did reopen. I had my computer practical, and I was chilling at my seat when I heard one of the guys looking at me and laughing while talking to his other friends. I didn't react until we all got up and were exiting, when the same guy came to me and muttered, "Who did you cheat from?" And I stood up, not reacting at all, until his group came to my right. He was laughing again. I don't know what happened to me, but I just grabbed his collar and pushed him against the wall. I smiled at him while asking if something was wrong. I was trying to sound polite as he pointed at the dustbin at first, while stammering, "That's where you belong," but I just kept him asking that one question. "What's the problem?" Then he didn't dare to mess with me again. Then when I went for my extra classes, someone else purposely threw a aluminium foil under my chair. I got up and picked it. I was kinda sleepy at that time, so I was slow. Someone started saying I was showing attitude, but I smiled again and threw the foil randomly in the air as it hit the fan and fell on a guy's head. They all started screaming like a maniac, and I started reading some book, I guess. I was the quiet kid the first few weeks of sophomore year because I just transferred to a new school. One day, I was talking to my friends, Tom and Irene, when this other guy, Ashton, tried to butt in on our conversation. He and the other two weren't exactly friends, but he'd known them a little longer than I had, since again, I was a transfer student. The first words I ever spoke to him were, and I quote, "Duck off." It was the first time I'd ever cursed in front of another person, and Ashton was definitely taken aback by it, because he hadn't expected those words to come out of my mouth. Toward the end of junior year, while we were working on an assignment side by side out in the hall, Tom and I would reminisce about it, and he'd tell me that in that moment, I was like a protective little bunny. I changed a lot over those 3 years. Our edgy little circle branched out from a group of 5 to a group of 8, though the other 3 were far less edgy than we were and had friends of their own to speak of, but I loved them all. I wish I had a means of reconnecting with them. One time when I was in high school, I got to my next class early, so I sat down and pulled out my wallet so I could reach my iPad. Had them in the same pocket for some reason. Another student came up and said something along the lines that my iPad looked cool and he wanted to look at it. I said no, but then he snatched my wallet and iPad from my hands. When I was trying to put them away, he started walking towards the door, and I asked for my stuff back twice, with his response being, "I'm just going to look at it." I never had anything stolen from me before, so I panicked, picked up my pencil, and stabbed his arm with it. He got defensive, but gave my stuff back, and when the teacher returned, we explained both sides of the story with 2 other students backing me up. He went to the nurse and I didn't get in trouble. Quiet kid is sitting around in the middle of the classroom. The class bully moved on the desk behind him, and in the middle of the class started to whisper about how quiet guy's mother should die and other such things. I didn't hear them. It's what he said. So the quiet guy just straight up turns around in one motion and decks the bully. Straight KO. Sadly, he got expelled for that. But as one of the bully's victims, I still respect the quiet guy. I was the quiet kid in high school, and one day in health class we had 2 kids from the student council or something, I can't remember why they were there, were talking to us about shit. They were a bit odd, dyed their hair random colors almost every day, and wore tails on their belts. They seemed like nice people though. A few kids in the class were openly making fun of them while they talked, and the teacher was literally 2 feet from them just letting them do it. So, from the opposite side of the room, I just stood up, looked them dead in the eye, and told them to shut the duck up, then stared at the teacher as I sat back down. She said nothing, probably because she knew I was doing her job and didn't want to get in trouble, lol. 8. So I consider myself a quiet kid. I sit in the corner and I'm on my phone or drawing. My best friend is talkative and energetic. We are walking together. She's a little in front of me, and the short nerdy kid reaches out to my BSF's ear and hits claps right next to it, making her jump. Obviously not expecting it. I wasn't really paying attention, so when he did it to me, I turned and clapped my hands, except with his head in the middle. It actually took him by surprise and his friends had to grab him, since he stumbled back. Think his glasses fell. For the rest of the year I clapped right next to his ear every time I caught him staring at me. I'm the quiet kid we had to do a dance for pep, and in my group we were running out of time for the last steps of the choreography and I just told them to leave it to me. Next day it's the dance, and when the last part came, I just got in front of my group and did the traditional Russian dance where they crouch and jump kicking, and since this was done on recess the entire school watched me and congratulated me for 3 days. Feels good. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit universe.